The following program may contain strong language and mature content. Viewer discretion is advised. What is going on, Unusual Mavericks? We are back finally with another episode of the Unusual Mavericks, and we're live. We're actually live this time. So, welcome. Come on in the room. Join us. I am joined by the handsome, the incomparable, Just Dominic. How are you, sir?
Well, hello. I am doing very well, and it is fantastic to be back because we have so much to talk about.
So much has been going on in these streets.
Right. Comic book streets.
In these comic book streets, and so we have a lot to talk about. So without further delay, let's just get on into the Maverick Alert, shall we? Oh, I was asking you.
Oh, yes. I thought we were going straight there. Yes, everyone, let's get into the Maverick Alert.
Here we go. All right, we are here with the Maverick Alert. And just in case you guys are just tuning in, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're watching on replay, don't worry about it. You can go ahead and like, share, and subscribe on there as well. And if you are a listener on Bullet and Flight Radio, we want to thank you for joining in on this here nerdy podcast that we have here.
Yeah. That's right.
Thank you for joining. All right, so Dominic, we have a lot going on.
Yes, we have two things that are going on at the same time within the Maverick Alert. We need to talk about James Gunn's announcement of Chapter 1.
Yes.
DC Studios. And we also need to talk about James Gunn trending on Twitter right now.
Yes.
Hashtag fire James Gunn. So yes, there's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about. But before we get to that, I want to, because remember, we've been out all month. So I know some of you guys are probably already know, but we want to congratulate the Angela Bassett for winning a Golden Globe. And the first Black woman, the first, I think, person to win for the Marvel universe, MCU universe. So correct. Shout out to her and all her Black goodness.
It is Black elegance.
Yes, it is Black History Month. So
what a way to start it off.
What a way. And she did a phenomenal job. She was a standout in Black Panther 2.
In everything she does, but yes.
Period.
Absolutely.
Period. But definitely did a phenomenal job in Black Panther 2.
She did.
So
absolutely.
So thank you.
Well deserved.
Well deserved. And thank you so much for the hard work that you put in, Lady Bassett. And we'll see you on your next Oscar and your next Golden Globe. Praise
yes,
God.
Ma'am.
Yes. Now, you were talking about Mr. Gunn. There's been a lot going on with DC. A lot. Marvel's been a little quiet lately. They I guess they're gathering their resources.
They're doing a slight reset too. So
yes, everybody's doing a slight reset. They need to fix everything. Everybody, lottie-dottie, everybody.
Slight pivots everywhere.
Yes, but before we get into the Twitter trending stuff, we're going to talk about the big announcement.
Yeah, it's all connected. But yes.
I'm gonna let you lead the way on this, Dominic. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I am super excited about this announcement. I know that there are some people, as we said, some of the trolls out there that are going ham on Twitter. But overall, from what I have seen and read, this new universe, this reboot, is has actually uh, what I should say, it's breathing fresh life
Yes.
into the DC universe, which is badly
Yes.
needed. And it has never been a connected universe. So I'm
No.
actually really excited about it. I'm
Yes.
excited about the projects that he announced that are coming up over the next 2-3 years,
Yes.
from Superman to Batman and Damian Wayne, which is just really going to be cool to see that version of Robin, to Swamp Thing, to the Amanda Waller series, which I am really, really, really
Yes.
excited about. So yeah. Go ahead.
So they have the DCU Chapter 1 is what they're calling it. So Marvel now has phases and the DCU has chapters.
Chapters,
So
correct.
the
No more
first
DCEU. It's just DCU.
DCU, no more DECU. Yes, that is very correct. And they're breaking it up from what James Gunn said into kind of categories. So we have the first category, which is basically the actual DCU, and then anything that's outside of that that doesn't really fall in line. Like for example, the Batman, Matt Reeves' Batman, that will be considered DCU
Elseworlds.
Elseworld, which is
Correct.
really cool. So I didn't know how they were going to navigate that. So I thought that was really smart that you can still, because they were making a lot of money on the Batman Matt Reeves. That was a very successful film.
Very.
So shout out to James Gunn for navigating that really smartly, because I didn't know what he was going to do.
And Young Justice. There's news about Young Justice, Superman and Lois.
Yes.
So anyway.
And so this is, and we're going to get into that because I have questions about Young Justice myself, and I know you grabbed all the news, so I definitely want to hear about that. But
I tried my best.
You did a phenomenal job, sir. And so, but I want to show everybody what is going on with, and I know you guys probably see the Unusual Mavericks logo on the side there at the bottom. It is not. We are not a part of the DC.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. Praise God. But
that's all right.
God's willing. But this is the actual overlay of what is proposed for. Well, not. I guess not proposed anymore. It's actually going to be happening. This is the new DC. Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, as well as the DC Elseworlds, which I really am interested to see. I didn't think that they were going to continue with Teen Titans Go. I don't know why they did, but it's cute for Disney, whatever. And then Superman and Lois is in there. I was really interested to see that they kept that in there as well. But
I'm not. Financially, they're making the HBO Max app a fortune. I think they're doing better than Peacemaker, or just as good. So I'm not surprised.
Oh, you're not surprised. I thought you were saying that you were not happy with it.
Very happy with it.
Okay, yes,
I am very happy with it. I am not surprised they're keeping Superman and Lois.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I think that if they would have gotten in maybe a couple months earlier, Stargirl would be in this roster as well.
I agree. I definitely agree, and they should have kept Stargirl, but
well, they weren't the heads then. They weren't in charge.
No. But we'll see how it goes.
But look at this roster. It's so exciting.
Now, Creature Commandos, that is one that I wasn't really too familiar with, and I've been doing a little look up on it. And I'm actually really they're kind of like a are they kind of like a DC version of, like, not Avengers, but they're like a sub team.
Yes, they're like Guardians of the Galaxy in a way.
Yes.
There is a DC showcase that recently came out over the past 2 years. I believe it's the one that stars Constantine in the reboot of his little situation. And they show the Creature Commandos. And I think they have it set as a period piece during World War II. Really fantastic episode. And if you're not familiar with it, I strongly recommend that everyone kind of get familiar with their backstory in the animated universe, because it is pretty dope. Nice.
I'm looking forward to that. And I noticed that they now Batman the Brave and the Bold, is that from are they basing that off of the animated?
No.
Okay,
No, they
good.
are not. It's just yeah, not at all actually. It's just the story of Batman and his son Damian and how he tries to take the assassin out of him
Hmm.
and turn him into a vigilante.
Yeah, and we talked about this in one of our pre-production meetings where I wasn't too thrilled about Damien because I felt
Yeah.
like they should have did more of Tim Drake because he's super popular. But I was doing research on it, and Damien is extremely popular. I
Yeah,
didn't realize how
Damien is
popular he was.
Damien is probably more popular than Tim Drake. Tim Drake in the comic book pages is categorized as the best Robin.
Hmm.
But the character of Damien, the spoiled rich brat who needs to kind of dial down his ego, is something that I guess a lot of people can relate to. Go
Right,
figure.
right, right.
But yeah, I'm also super excited about Waller.
Yes, yes,
And I can't wait till we have time to really dive into her backstory and
yes,
anyone who knows that of course Viola Davis is playing Amanda Waller in this universe. So
yes.
those who like Viola Davis and her acting, to me, this queen is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And to have her in the DC universe as we have Angela Bassett in the Marvel universe is just a super treat.
It's incredible. It's
Yes.
incredible. So I'm looking for it. Now another one that I wasn't happy at first, but I feel like I feel like James Gunn and Peter Safran was smart about this because
Yeah.
people, as far as Green Lantern was concerned, because I'm a huge Hal Jordan. It's a Hal, not Hal Jordan. Yeah, Hal
Yeah,
Jordan
you're right.
fan.
Yes.
I was not. I mean, I loved it. What's the other one?
John Stewart,
John Stewart. John Stewart. Wait, Hal Jordan is the
white guy.
yeah. Okay, so John Stewart is my favorite, my current, my absolute overall, and personally, I feel he is the most powerful, arguably, I will say, Green Lantern. But I was looking forward to seeing something with just him. But I also know that there's a huge Hal Jordan fan base, so
I'm
I really
yeah, I'm totally stoked about this. Those individuals, old as I am, I know I'm going to date myself here, but if you grew up watching Super Friends, then
mhm.
you were connected with the character Hal Jordan.
Yeah,
If you grew up with John Stewart and saw him on Justice League Unlimited,
Unlimited.
then clearly you're just a little bit younger. But
Mhm.
these two lanterns are arguably the top tier of the lantern corps. So
Yes, yes.
this is a double treat.
This is a very good, huge treat. I'm very excited about that. And I was very surprised that they're going to be coming out with Booster Gold,
Yes,
which is really,
Booster
really cool.
Gold. And did you hear who's rumored to play Booster Gold?
No, tell me.
The Chris Pine. Because
Interesting.
a lot of people have to remember that James Gunn left Marvel and he took a lot of the actors with him because there's no room for them anymore. They're moving into a different phase. So the Guardian actors, including David Bautista and Chris Pine and maybe Zoe Z- Zaldana.
Zoe Saldana.
Yeah, I always mess up her name, Zaldana. Who
Saldana.
was she was also in the DC universe back in the day. A lot of people don't know that, but there's a deep cut, a fantastic movie with her in it. I believe it's called The Rejects. The anyway, look for it on HBO Max. So she
Mhm.
used to be a part of the DC universe. So if she comes back, who will she play? But Chris Pine as Booster Gold. Can you see that?
I can now. And I think that that's kind of cool because I felt like he played a sidekick on Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? Like I felt like he was
Yes.
more a
Wait,
sidekick
is
as opposed.
that? Oh, that's Chris Pine?
Is that not Chris Pine? Let me look.
I don't know.
I'm
One,
almost
the
positive.
guy who
Yeah,
played.
that's the one that played Wonder Woman's love interest is Chris Pine. He also
Oh,
played in Star Trek.
my apologies, everyone that's listening. Who is the guy who played Star Lord in the
Oh,
Marvel
Chris
universe?
Pratt.
Chris Pratt. Okay, too many Chris's.
Oh, now I
Chris
can
Pratt.
definitely see him. as Booster Gold, but my concern would be I don't know too. Is Booster Gold supposed to be like a comedian? Like, is he supposed to be like is he
Yes.
humorous? Then okay, then
Absolutely.
I'm not. I don't know anything too much about Booster Gold.
Okay,
So
what you need to know about Booster Gold is a white boy from the future. He's from the 24th century, and he's a loser. He's lazy.
okay.
He's went to jail for some dumb crime he committed, and he decided he wanted to turn his life around. So he went and stole Rip Hunter's time machine from Legends of Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
He stole his old time machine that was in a museum, and he stole all this tech that you see him wearing right here, and he decided to go back to the past and capitalize on all the events that he knew was going to happen to make himself rich. So just think of the worst version of Iron Man. That's Booster Gold. But his redemption came in that he realized that he really had to live up to being the hero that he was pretending to be.
So basically, Star-Lord in the DCU.
He is exactly Star-Lord in the DCU. A criminal past, a pickpocket type of guy who ended up having to turn his life around. Correct.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I don't know
And
how I feel about that.
his little robot, his AI, that little thing that you see flying next to him, the gold thing.
Yeah.
Yes, that is a very advanced AI that really is the consciousness of the pair. He's Booster is the jokester, and the little AI is the straight guy.
And for those who are listening on Bullet and Flight Radio, you guys can always go to pyromedianetwork.com or go to Pyro Media Network's YouTube to see all the visuals for this particular episode.
Yes.
We want to make sure you are recognized because we love you guys and we appreciate you listening and tuning in. Now, also, in addition to all of, we talked about Amanda Waller, which I'm super excited about.
Yes.
Like, I've always just found her very interesting, her character, and then especially in the cartoons, and then now knowing that Viola Davis is going to, be her, and they're going to, maintain her position there as Amanda Waller is really, really dope because, first of all, Viola Davis is a phenomenal actress.
Yes.
And then we talked about Green Lantern, and now Booster Gold, and then there's discussion about not discussion, but actual a movie on with Supergirl, and I believe it's called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow.
Woman of Tomorrow, correct.
Which I
and
found
that's going to be very dark.
Very interesting. Yeah, and I already saw the if you guys can see the kind of, I guess, concept art, it looks very interesting to me, and I think it's going. I've always been a fan of Supergirl, especially in the
Melissa Benoist. Yeah,
even before that, I want to say the original, like when
Supergirl movie.
The Supergirl movie, I was a big fan of this.
Yeah.
Right, I was a big fan of the Supergirl movie there, and or that Supergirl movie, and I've just always been attracted to the Supergirl storyline, and so I'm looking forward to seeing how they do this because
they're going to do it right.
Right, because the original was not right.
No, nor was the TV show.
Excuse me.
No, Supergirl. You know what Zack Snyder did to Superman, making him darker and with an edge? That's Supergirl.
That should have always been Supergirl.
And it always has been. And we need to see that correct version of her. Just like Waller, this series is going to flush out what we have been seeing in the comic books almost for the past 30 years that has never come to light. She's been more just of a character and not a flushed out person, well-rounded. And I'm happy about Waller and Supergirl because these are very dark stories that we're about to dive into.
Absolutely. Now, also another we talked about Booster Gold, we talked about Batman, the Brave and the Bold, we talked about the Lanterns, which I'm really, really, because they talked about it's going to be focused on Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, but they're also going to sprinkle some other popular Lanterns in there as well, which I'm really excited about. Then they talked about the Authority.
Yes.
Now, that one I'm very interested in seeing.
Yes, for individuals who know Jim Lee, Jim Lee is an Asian comic book writer and illustrator who worked very closely back in the day with my hero, Dwayne McDuffie. Kind of
Shout out to Dwayne McDuffie.
Yes, and his legacy. And so Jim Lee has been very instrumental in helping even bring back this whole Static Shock. Even though we don't see Static Shock in this chapter, I believe we're going to see Static in chapter 2 or 3. But anyway, I digress. Um, the Authority is based upon, I remember, the Elite and a bunch of superhero characters that thought that uh, Batman was too weak and a pushover. And so you can just imagine what he thought of the rest of the league.
Yeah, yeah.
That severe corporate punishment is the only way to get these people in line. So it is very interesting to see the world of Static Shock kind of make its debut in the DC universe, which I'm really excited about because
Yeah.
if they're here, Static Shock is going to be around any minute now.
And speaking of Black history, I don't think people really realize how much of an impact Dwayne McDuffie had on the just kind of the DC universe and how he brought so many characters of color and representation to superheroes, and to us, and so I know I was a major fan of Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. When I talk about, like, it almost made me forget that Marvel existed. And so that's how big of a fan I was of the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. And so it was just kind of, so shout out to the legacy of Dwayne McDuffie and all the work that he's done. And I'm very much looking forward to the Authority and what they're going to do. And you guys can see the picture up here. I have not followed the Authority before, so I'm really interested to see how that's navigated. And
Can you put that picture back up?
Sure, absolutely.
Well, it's very interesting because Captain Britain, the lady, the woman down there with the British flag on her shirt, they kind of gender swapped her. She used to be a he, and I remember this entire team, and they were called the Elite. And even though it was just on one planet, these are the same characters, same people. Some may be gender swapped. For individuals who did love the show Supergirl, this same team was used in a like team up battle between her and the Martian. And it actually, that fight scene, that whole story was one of the best for that CW show. So it's going to be nice to see these characters really be taken to their limits with storytelling and CGI.
Right on.
Casting.
Yes. All right. Well, we talked about Supergirl. We talked about the Authority. We talked about the Lanterns. We talked about Booster Gold. We talked about Batman, the Brave and the Bold. We talked about Creature Commandos and Waller. I'm also very much interested in Paradise Lost, which is supposed to be focusing on the Themyscira. And so I'm really, really interested because I've always been interested in that, in Wonder Woman's background. We've always talked about Wonder Woman. But we never really delved in, which I think is one of the reasons why the Wonder Woman movie was so popular and why it because we got to see her grow up a little bit on Themyscira. We got to see what was going on at Themyscira. Even with Wonder Woman 2, we saw a little bit on there. I mean, we got mostly out of it, and I think that's one of the things that hurt that movie, but I really enjoyed the background of learning about Themyscira, so I'm really happy that they are focusing on. Yeah, that's gonna be dope.
Yeah,
really dope.
And I liked with the Snyder cut of Justice League, we saw even more of the Themyscirians working with the Atlanteans and everyone else to bring forth the pushing back Darkseid. And so that is what we're going to see more. So I believe it's going to be like maybe 1,000 or 2,000 years before the birth.
Yeah.
of Wonder Woman. So we're going to see, I assume, Hippolyta, since she was a demigod, and her relationship with either Zeus or and Hades,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. So we're going to really get a very Game of Thrones type of feel, which
Yeah.
now makes sense why they have decided to cancel both Doom Patrol and Titans. They're going to use all that budget money
Yeah.
to overproduce this beautiful Paradise Island. So
And I hope they do
it's going to
because
be
I mean,
hot.
yeah, that's gonna be dope. I mean, I was a little saddened to because Titans was just kicking in. It was just getting back to like what I thought it should have been.
Yeah, yeah,
But I'm happy that
I
they're
agree.
that they're going to um end it and
Yeah.
give it
I'm
what it
not
needed
sad
to.
to see Doom Patrol end because I feel like they're running on films right now.
I agree.
And they did some of their best storytelling in season 1 and 2, I
Yeah.
believe. And yeah, so but it's okay. I am all for the DC universe is overdue for a period piece that is Game of Thrones-ish, Lord
Yeah.
of the Ring-ish, that sort
Yeah.
of thing. That is going to bring a huge wad of cash and new fans to the DC universe. Just watch and see.
And they're going to be bringing Superman Legacy in, which is why kind of Henry Cavill is no longer going to be Superman. They're kind of talking about the younger portion of Superman's life and how he grew up. So I'm really interested to see that as well, and seeing who's going to. There's rumors that the guy from Euphoria is going to be replacing him. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know how I feel
Yes,
about that, but
Superman Year 2 should be interesting
is
because it
is
looks
that
like
separate from the Legacy one? If I'm, am I
no,
mistaken?
no, that is correct. That is what
Okay,
they're talking about. Is he's going to be fully Superman Year 2.
got it, got it.
And we know that there's an animated movie that shows him in Superman Year 2, and folks, I suggest that you check it out because that is part of what James Gunn has been inspired by, that movie, that story, the comic
Hmm.
book that inspired that animated film, and it's pretty new. And he fights Lobo,
Hmm.
and him and Lois are just now getting close or closer. So it's at the beginning of their romance for sure. And it is definitely the year that he should have met Lobo
Yeah,
and had that epic fight. Now with the Batman and Damian thing, we all know that Batman in the timeline, this should be Ben Affleck.
yeah,
Why? Because Batman is not a young man, young, when he has Damian.
yeah,
So and he's the last Robin. So he's gone through what, three Robins, and this is the fourth Robin at this point. So we'll see. And I would love to see Ben Affleck return to his role. And note that there was no mention of him leaving after they made the announcement right before Henry Cavill that Ben Affleck had also returned. And I know they said that maybe he won't and maybe he'll direct movies, but there still hasn't been any clear direction on what he's doing.
hmm.
So,
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it
interesting.
goes. So there's somebody in the comments, Derby Entertainment, a little aggressive, but calm down. It's not that deep. But he says, or they say, because DC and Warner Brothers got their crap together, which I agree. It says, it's not Ben Affleck. Get over it. He's going to direct it, though. I guarantee it. I don't really care if it's Ben Affleck or not, but
I don't either.
I really don't care. It's not that deep for me. But I'm just glad that they're doing a reset because there needed to be something that was a
Yeah.
shift in the universe, and everybody was really kind of upset that the Snyderverse wasn't being revitalized. But after in our previous episodes that we had, when one of the things that you brought up, Dominic, was the fact that like these actors are getting older,
Yeah.
and as nice looking as Henry Cavill. Now Derby Entertainment, you just said something that I think would be dope. I do. He says I hope they get Jensen Ankles or is that how you pronounce his last name? Anyway, the guy that's from Supernatural, that would be dope. I could see him being Batman.
Oh yeah.
I definitely could see him being
Yeah,
Batman.
that would be nice.
But we're running into the same issue that we were talking about with, like, Ben Affleck
We
and
right now
Cavill.
have three Batmans. Let's talk about this.
Hmm.
We have Robert Pattinson.
Hmm.
We still have Ben Affleck because the
Yes.
Flashpoint movie has not come out yet,
Yeah.
and they don't know what they're going to do with him.
No.
Yes, there was talk about him directing two, but we don't know. And I'm not stuck on any Batman. Honestly, I just want it portrayed very well. And now we have Michael Keaton, who has returned as Batman. And so I think it's going to be super interesting. And I can't get enough Batman. Bring back Christian Bale. Okay? Let's have
Now,
them all.
now let's talk about that. Let's talk
You
about
know,
Christian Bale. I could see him coming back.
I have no issue with any Batman or any universe with Batman because obviously that
Except
has
George
been
Clooney. I could not deal with the George Clooney Batman.
no. Who
We won't
anyway?
acknowledge that.
That never happened. That's in the Elseworlds universe as well.
Yeah, that was weird.
But yeah, no, I'm really interested to see how they move forward with this because if they do bring in the guy from Supernatural, it would be interesting to see him play off and play with a teenage kid that he's trying to kind of get lined up. So hey, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Now the last one that they we talked about: Creature Commandos, Waller, Superman Legacy, Lanterns, The Authority, Paradise Island, Batman, The Brave and the Bold, Booster Gold, and Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Swamp Thing is coming.
Yes.
Now, let me tell you something about Swamp Thing. I was a huge fan of the original show Swamp Thing.
Not the 1980s movie, right?
No, I watched that movie when I was born. After I was born, I grew up a little bit when I was into characters, superheroes.
Yeah, but the movie that Greg Berlanti's production team did just a few years ago, that's the show you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the one. Was it in the early '90s? I think there was a Swamp Thing in the early '90s. I'm almost positive that's the one I'm talking about. Swamp Thing.
I don't.
I'm almost positive. Yeah, I'm almost positive there was a Swamp Thing show that I watched, and I'm not talking about the one that came out in 2019. I'm talking about the other one.
Yeah, but speaking of the 2019, while you're looking
yes.
this up, that was very well done. So well done and so close to the source material, I thought. So I'm kind of disappointed that didn't keep going, that particular show.
I actually didn't see that one, so I would want to see that. Where is it? I know that why was the Swamp Thing show canceled? I'm not talking about that one. Everybody keeps talking about that one. Oh, there it goes. The 1990 to 1993 is when the one that I'm talking about.
Okay.
And that one was that's how I was introduced to the Swamp Thing. And it was to me the most comic book accurate at that time. And it was ahead of its time personally. It was a really good, but I knew that it wasn't going to last too long only because of the fact that, like, I didn't think that they did good marketing on it. And it just
probably didn't have the budget.
They didn't have the budget for it. And I but it was a cute little show. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. The 2019 adaptation of Swamp Thing was, I'm sure that of course they had some reboots, but it was very, very close to the comic book source material as well. And that was truly it truly danced within the horror genre for sure. And I really, really, really was getting into the show and thought that it deserved at least 2 more seasons. Just give us 3 seasons at least.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that one out because I have not seen that. Now, we talked about all of this. There's so much coming to DC, but we are going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some stuff that was going on trending in Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay. Regarding Mr. James Gunn. Okay, because there's a lot going on there. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after this commercial break. And we're back. Thank you guys so much for joining. And if you're just tuning in, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your assistance, your like, it helps our algorithm. So definitely go ahead and like and share this if you can for us. We appreciate you and all that you do. And shout out to Bullet in Flight Radio, the #1 progressive Christian radio station in the world. And tomorrow is Dance Friday. Do you know what that means, yo? Check it out. It's Dance Friday. That's right. Look at Dominic Jamming. And it is going to be epic. And also, don't forget to check out my other co-host, Kyrie Sanaj, tomorrow on Pyro Power Hour, where we'll be jamming to some Bullet and Flight stuff too. Shout out to Kyrie. Shout out to Kyrie.
Yes, love you, brother.
A special shout out to Thais Jackson of the official Thais Report. Today is his birthday, so happy birthday to you, sir. We appreciate you and all the stuff that you do and the work that you do. So
happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. All right, Dominic. So spill the tea.
All right. So James Gunn is definitely trending on Twitter today. #fire James Gunn seems to be really trending right now because there is a segment of people that are very unhappy with the chapter 1 that we just went through.
Who did he take off?
Some fans who insist they're very upset that the Snyderverse is ending. As you saw, we didn't discuss the top tier of what you put up.
Oh, we can definitely discuss that. Okay, let's go over to that.
Let's go over to it.
Yes.
There are a lot of dedicated fans, as we know, that love the Snyderverse. The end of the Snyderverse ends with Aquaman, as we see. We see that the Shazam and the Flash, and then there's going to be a universe reset with the Flashpoint movie. Mm-hmm. So really, technically, chapter 1 kind of starts with Blue Beetle, but it doesn't start with Blue Beetle and Aquaman because James Gunn is not attached to it. Peter Safran, I believe, is attached to both. I know for sure he's attached to Aquaman, but that is the end of the Snyderverse, and people are not happy with it. As we have all heard that Gal Gadot and Henry Cavill came back to do cameos, and so did Ben Affleck. And it is completely unclear if they are going to wrap up this universe in a nice little pretty bow.
Yeah.
And because of that, people want him terminated because they don't like not being heard. So what are your thoughts?
I don't know, Dominic. Like, I don't know. because on one hand, I completely understand what they're saying and how they feel.
Yeah.
Because for me, I was excited to have James Gunn come back or be the CEO because I thought that he was going to enhance what was already there. Now he has every right as a CEO, a new CEO to come in. Him and Peter Safran, they both have every right to shape the DC universe as they see fit because they have the power. They hold the power to do that. But I think what's frustrating is that it feels oftentimes, and this goes for both DC and Marvel, it feels oftentimes that they don't listen to us as fans. It feels oftentimes that we get pulled
Yeah.
into one direction and then we get then like it's like the carpet is ripped from underneath us, and
Yeah.
it's very frustrating because I know that a lot of people were really excited from what seemed like the Snyder universe was going to be coming back, even if they weren't going to bring Snyder back, that's fine, but to bring those characters back, to bring those actors back was a big deal.
Yeah. For a couple of months and then say psych.
Yeah, and
It
that's how it felt. It was like
it
a
was
whole psych
emotional
train.
for
Yeah,
people. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know I felt
I
it.
agree. What I'm hoping is that the top tier will also go under the DC Elseworlds. They
Mhm,
deserve that. They
mhm.
don't deserve to just be out there in limbo. You know what I mean? These movies, because if they did that, then why see Shazam? Why see the Flashpoint movie? Why see Blue Beetle? God knows I want to see that movie. Why see Aquaman 2?
Yeah.
The Lost Kingdom? It's if you're saying that they're just going away in limbo, I guess.
So let me get this straight, because the way that if we look at the map,
Yes.
we're talking about, we have Shazam, which was already done. It was already completed. It was going to be coming out in March anyway, right? And so, not a problem. Okay, fine, whatever. I won't be too attached to this because it's probably not going to, be attached to the rest of the
Right.
universe anyway.
Right.
Whoop 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 whoop. Sad sad. But the Flashpoint was supposed to or this Flash movie was supposed to reset everything, right? We were supposed to have a universe reset.
Correct. So that's why I'm confused with why the reset is there and why Blue Beetle and Aquaman aren't coming out before Flashpoint because it
Right,
would make sense.
because the way I'm looking at this, it says Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Flash, and then Universe Reset, then Blue Beetle, Aquaman, Blue Beetle, and then Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So that lets me believe, or leads me to believe that Blue Beetle and Aquaman are part of the new chapter, as you said. So then why are we having a universe reset with the Flashpoint if Blue Beetle and Aquaman are not even a part of it? Why are we having to wait
Yeah.
for something else?
And that is what the fans are pretty pissed off about, if I can say that word. They're pretty ticked off about the fact that these movies that we have been waiting for, Shazam 2, Flashpoint, Blue Beetle, which is a big deal, that is one of our first Hispanic lead superhero characters that a large community of folks are really, really looking forward to seeing. So, is it a one and done with Blue Beetle? It doesn't make sense because Blue Beetle's best friend is Booster Gold in the comic books. They're best bros. They have the biggest bromance. So, is the Blue Beetle going to be recast?
Yeah, I don't know.
And
I
then
don't
there are
know.
questions about, Jason Momoa. Is he going to continue to play Aquaman? Is he going to play Lobo also? What does it mean within this reboot? So, yeah, fans are very concerned and even more confused by his announcement.
Well, one thing. Listen, you. I think.
Some fans.
I think. Dominic, you know me long enough to know that I am a realist, right? And so, at the end of the day, let's be real. They're not going to fire James Gunn. So y'all need to stop. It's not going to happen unless he does something completely egregious. They're not going to fire James Gunn
No.
because you guys are in your feelings that the Snyderverse is going away. Sorry about it. It is what it is. Like I've been asking for certain people to get fired in Marvel Universe, and that hasn't happened. So it's all right, girl. Okay.
No, and realistically, the Snyderverse has lasted for 10 years.
Yeah. And
Just like
this
the Arrowverse
I
lasted
was
for
just
10
about to say that,
years.
Dominic. I was
Actually, a
just
little
about to
bit
say
more.
that, and even before that, with the small the what is it, Smallville verse or whatever, that ended, and I was dramatic. Okay, like I was having a time.
Yeah.
Okay, I needed a moment. Like the last episode, I had to. It was a couple of days of sadness. You know what I'm saying? Because I was very invested into the Smallville world, and so I find it. But I also know that things change,
Yes.
right? And things evolve, things grow, things and even with like the Arrowverse closing out, we are having cameos from a lot of these different people, even with a lot of these shows that have or these movies that closed out in Marvel. We're seeing a lot of the Marvel characters come over to DC. So it just it makes me
Yeah.
feel like I don't think that this is going to be the end that we ever see of Henry Cavill. I don't think it's going to be the last that we see of Ben Affleck,
No.
of all of these different people. So
And I would love to see Henry Cavill come back within this universe as a completely different character.
that would be cool. But who?
There are lots of DC characters he could play. I believe.
I don't know if that's going to make sense.
In a rebooted universe, he's too popular as Superman. It makes sense.
Exactly. And
But
that
if they wanted to work that out, they could have.
they
Because
could.
if Momoa can come back and play Lobo and Arthur Curry, I mean, you know what I mean? In the same universe, that's the rumor.
But I feel like Jason Momoa is a different type. Like Aquaman is a different type of character. Like he's not a main character. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a part of the Justice League. You know, we can do without Aquaman in the Justice League. Like he's not a part of the big three. The big three is Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman. You play any of those roles, you can even get away with changing out Green Lantern. Look what they did with what's his name? The guy from Deadpool that played Deadpool.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan
Yeah, yeah.
He played the
But
original Green
but
Lantern.
my point is they could have, if they wanted to bring him back, as somebody completely different. Some character like, let's just say, the character, and oh god, with the eye in his forehead.
Despero?
Despero. He could have come back as Despero. Obviously, makeup, CGI, da 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 da,
Yeah.
da, and it's just more or less voice acting. Who did that in the Marvel Universe? Josh Brolin did that. He played Thanos, then he played Cable.
That's correct.
Correct. And why could he
But
play Thanos? Because it wasn't,
we couldn't really see his face.
correct. And I'm saying Henry Cavill, they could have kept Henry Cavill if they even still choose to do that in the DC universe, just as another character.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
What
know.
do you fans think about DC Marvel reusing characters and using them in this way? Do you think it's a good idea?
Yeah. And what do you guys think of the new DCU chapter 1? You know, Gods and Monsters. Like this is a very interesting times for DC and even Marvel. Just they have to look at all of the stuff that Marvel is putting, or excuse me, DC is putting out, and seeing
Yeah.
how they navigate things, because they have to compete with this. So
Yeah.
Marvel, you have a lot of work that y'all need to do, because you guys have not been consistent in your shows, and so I would behoove you to start taking some notes. You know?
Yeah, I'm really against this trolling that's going on Twitter for James Gunn right now. I think that as a creative person and someone who is deeply in love with comic books, it shows with the work that he did in Marvel Universe and with the work that he has now done in the DC Universe with Suicide Squad. And no doubt Waller is going to be a knockout series with Viola Davis.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see his vision unfold before I, start criticizing him so much or calling for his resignation or termination. It's just to me, that's just too extreme.
I agree, and I also think, Dominic, like I think one of the things that that I'm trying to be patient with is the fact that this is his. They have the right to do this. And as someone who, we're CEOs of our own company, and so, if we were to take over as a CEO
Yep.
of another company, we should
Yep.
have the right to do what we need to do to make things better and to see how the vision that we see fit, and that's
Yeah.
just the way it is.
And God forbid we take over a project that is beloved by millions or billions of people,
Yeah.
and we have our own vision for it. And before we can even lay out the first draft, people are like, "Off with his head! Off
Right.
with his
Right.
head!"
Right.
It's like, can you wait first?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you give me a chance?
Exactly.
So
So
we'll see
that's
how it
what I hope
goes.
people do is just give him a chance and stop trolling people. Be nice. Be
Yeah.
nice.
This is a little.
It
This is a little
ain't that
weird.
serious.
Yeah. It's not. It's not that deep.
It is not.
It's not. Well, we're approaching the end of the show. We want to thank you guys so much for enjoying our first live. This is our first live show. We are going back to our recorded episodes because it's a little late. It's a little late for us, and we work a long day. Okay, and we'll stay tuned to Pyro Media Networks and notifications from them because we will be changing our times because we want to honor our East Coast fans and our people over on the East Coast because they are going to bed real late. And so we can't do that to them. So we want to make sure that we are catering to all of our blerds out there, our black nerds, and also our regular nerds. Everybody, la da. We want to make sure that you guys are all taken care of the best way that we can. So thank you guys so much for checking us out. Like we say before, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to all things Pyro Media, to all things Bullet and Flight, and to all things The Unusual Mavericks. So thank you guys so much for listening. Do you have anything else before we go, Dominic?
Yes, one other thing. I know, guys, that an hour has almost rolled around, but I think we should continue this conversation and just unpacking what the future looks like for Black women and Black men within the DC and Marvel universe. But let's talk about Black women.
Yeah.
So
there's
a lot more to talk about.
Yeah, and stay tuned because we have guests coming to chat with us too, and we want to make sure that we are opening up our space for other nerds out there that and unusual Mavericks, as we say, out there to kind of bring in their perspectives and let us know what they think about the comic book world and it's and how the DC and Marvel universes are going crazy. So we definitely checking them out. So like we said, we appreciate you guys. We want to thank you guys for supporting us. Don't forget to follow, like, share, and subscribe and all that jazz. And don't forget to check out Bullet and Flight Radio tomorrow for their Dance Fridays and jam out with them. And also check me out with my co-host Kyrie Sanaj, my brother from another mother, on Pyro Power Hour tomorrow morning. And also check out It's Just Kim. There's a lot going on Pyro Media Network. Okay, so definitely check it out, as well as Bullet and Flight. So we appreciate you guys. We thank you for your support, and stay unusual, you guys.
That's right. Stay unusual.
It's the only way to be. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.